Marty majored in cutting classmates. Clever. He should have majored on how not to be so freaking gullible.
Slaughter High.
So Slaughter High is the 1986 British film. American actors, but made in Britain, London. And it came out in 1986, and it's a simple story about a prank gone wrong. Little Marty is a gullible son of a bitch who has a prank done on him that's extreme. Things go wrong. He gets disfigured and has to be sent away to get fixed up. And then he comes back 10 years later at a high school reunion to exact his revenge on these sons of bitches who you want dead. This is a cult classic, I guess you could say. There's lots of fans. There's fans for every movie, and this one's one of them. It's definitely got that 80s nostalgia, cheese. You know, if you're a fan of 80s movies, this is right up your alley. This is right in the mid-80s. This was filmed in like 84. It didn't come out till 86 for some reason. Funny thing, another movie came out the same year called April Fool's Day about pranks gone wrong. And this movie was originally titled April Fool's Day, but they had to change it because that came out like March of 1986. This one came out like November of 1986. So they had to change the name. And this says from the makers of Friday the 13th, and I don't recognize any names except for the composer. So how is this from the makers of Friday the 13th? If you can explain that in the comments below, let me know, because I didn't recognize a single writing credit, producer's credit, executive producer, fucking camera operator, grip, gaffer, nobody. Alright, let's start off with a few positives I have for this movie. There's not a whole lot, but just spitballing here. Things I appreciate about this film was I like a good 80s horror movie that I haven't seen. I like finding these new movies. I like this channel. This channel has given me an opportunity to go out and see these movies that I never had a chance to see before. This is a new Vectron Blu-ray transfer. It's only like $15-20 on Amazon. You can check it out. But I like these, you know, throwback, these regular like old like movies that I never got to see, and I wish I would have seen this growing up because I feel like it's got that 80s cheese to it, kind of like a sleepaway camp or something, where it takes itself serious, and the source material is just not, it shouldn't be, but they take it serious, so therefore it adds to the entertainment. Like, wow, this is bad, but it's kind of good. But this movie is just drenched in like 80s atmosphere, especially the score. Just the whole story. It's overdone by now, but it was very popular at the time. The whole, you know, prank gone wrong, like House of Sorority Row, Terror Train, April Fool's Day, Slaughter High, just the same story all the time. Person gets revenge. We've seen it before, but I just like the whole 80s thing. I wasn't born in the 80s. I wasn't there, so it's not like nostalgic for me. Like, oh yeah, I remember, but I just like seeing 80s slasher movies, and this is another one that I will check out from time to time again. But the creative kills, I like there's a couple of kills in here. I mean, it's a very, very low budget film, so I'll cut it some slack. But each kill is not like the same thing. You get a variety, you get some guts, and not good guts, but they look like pig guts, let's be honest. They look like some weird animal, some sausage or something. It doesn't look like intestines at all, but we get, you know, hanging that the guy actually survives and gets cut down. There's a few surprises in here. I wasn't expecting that. You get some melting, like stop motion melting. So you get some cool little neat effects in here for the time and for the budget. They were able to pull off some cool stuff. And the costume for the killer, I dig it. It's alright. It's got a creepy jester old guy face and the three like jester things hanging with the bells, and I like that they kind of utilize the bells in the score. So I only got a couple of mixed feelings, so let me just quickly get rid of those mixed feelings I have about this movie. First up, the score. The score is good by Harry Manfredini, but the way they use it, it's like sometimes they overuse it and it just gets really loud, and the sequence is so long that the score just gets annoying. But I like that it kind of has that 80s feel. It's got that, you know, that piano synthesizer sound, and it's got that Friday the 13th sound sometimes, but they just kind of overuse it in some spots, and it just gets annoying. And another mixed element is just the story. Like I said, it's overdone. It's very simplistic, but that's all it needs to be. It's not trying to be a smart movie. So it's just a simple story. They quickly set it up in the first like 10-15 minutes just to kind of like make you hate these characters and want them dead. You root for the killer, but it's like the story, yeah, it's cliche as fuck, but I don't know how I feel about it. You know, it was a product of the time. This is how all the movies were back then. Just like something went wrong, kind of like even Jason. He was not watched properly, therefore he died, and therefore revenge on all those counselors from Pamela. But yeah, back to the little things I like. I like when Marty, he sees graffiti and it says like Marty sucks. He just makes the S a F and it says Marty fucks because he thinks he's about to get laid. Interesting fact about the killer in this movie, he killed himself like a few days after the film was done shooting. Like they had a little premiere and he killed himself. He overdosed. So it's kind of sad now. You watch it and you're like, man, his character should have killed himself because the shit they put him through, I would kill myself, or I would be like Marty and fucking murder them all. I mean, this movie really makes you want them to die. So therefore, it's a little satisfying when they do die, and their acting being so bad, you want them to die even more. I like that the coach kind of sticks up for Marty, but not really. He's doing it for himself. Like he catches them in the act. He's not mad at them for like fucking with Marty. Because he even yells at Marty, like, get out of here, you naked mess. Why are you naked? Like, you don't know why he's naked? They're fucking with him. But then he, like torments the other bullies, like, puts them in the gym class, like, drop and give me 30, that type of shit. So I liked his character. He just seemed kind of hokey, and I just liked the way he was, like, bullying them after they were bullying him. So I just kind of liked his character. He was the only character that really stood out to me, and he was probably the best actor in the whole movie.
Congratulations, Skippy. You're almost making me laugh.
I like the little references we get in this movie. There's a Pieces poster, because I think like the guy in that scene was an actual movie producer or some kind of studio guy who was responsible for handing out scripts to people. And he has like a Pieces poster. So that's probably a movie he was responsible for or produced. And there was a Jason reference in this movie where the guy finds a hockey mask. It looks nothing like the hockey mask we know and love. But Harry Manfredini doing the score for this movie and Friday the 13th, you hear that Jason sound play when that's happening. So it's like very meta. This is like before Scream, over 10 years before Scream, and we got like a little Friday the 13th meta references in here. It was kind of odd. This movie was a little before its time.
Who do you think I was? Jason.
I like that the school looks very gloomy. Like once it's 10 years later, the school has all kinds of cobwebs. I like the way the props and just the set designs. It looks very gloomy and eerie and just macabre. The walls, the wallpaper's falling apart. There's webs everywhere. Lights are flashing. It looks pretty cool. And interesting fact, and I knew it as soon as I saw it, I was like, this is not a school. They did not find some school that was abandoned. They found an asylum. And little did I know, I looked it up, it was an asylum. They found an abandoned mental institution and they made it look like a school. It was not a school. This movie is very influenced by Friday the 13th. I won't knock it for ripping it off, because after all, Friday the 13th was a rip-off of itself, but this movie has falling bodies that fall into frame, tied up. They just fall out of the sky, just like Friday the 13th. Pamela putting Steve Christie's body in a tree. He falls into frame with a knife in his chest. That stuff's in here. You got the long final chase sequence, except this one makes Alice versus Pamela look like it was 2 minutes long. And I'll get into that. I spoil some of my negatives, but yeah, we will get into that. But we got the same kind of formula set up here that Friday the 13th kind of made the template for. And this one kind of borrows that template. Now, we are going to head into spoiler territory. Just want to let you know that, all right? So, you've been warned. Now, my Klepper Award for Best Scene is Frank or Skip? No, Skip. Skip, who gets axed right in the face. I was not expecting this at all. It was hilarious. And the Hottest Chick Award goes to Carol, who behind the scenes was banging the director. One of the three of them. There's 3 directors for this movie. Now let's go over the negatives. The characters, yeah, I just want them all to die from minute 1. They established that, but that works because you want them to die, so therefore when they die it's satisfying, but their characters are just stereotypes or caricatures. They're, like the jock, the rebel, the prankster, the cheerleader, the hot one, the ugly one, the fucking beer chugger guy. Just everyone that you can think of is in here, and they're just so cliche. The Letterman jacket jocks, even the bully, the bullied kid Marty. He's the over the top dork. He's very smart at science. He knows how to solve chemistry stuff and write scientific stuff and equations on chalkboards. He knows all that shit, but he doesn't know how to read a woman. because he's gullible as shit. This movie's so cliche that even the black guy dies first, despite the fact that he has nothing to do with what happened to Marty. He is innocent, and he gets taken out like that chick in Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Spike on the wall, poof, head on it. And I will say that this movie has a very slow pace in the middle, from the time they get to the school to the time that the first kill happens, even in between kills. Like, the first few kills, there's so much time, or maybe not, it just felt like it. There's so much time in between them, whereas like a Friday the 13th, there's like 5-10 minutes tops in between each kill. And this one, it felt like there was 20 minutes between each kill, and I was just like, oh, when's the next kill? Where's the killer? Like, he's just like taking this sweet ass time. This film could have been crunched down, and in fact, they purposely pad the runtime. Let's talk about that freaking chase sequence. I know I'm jumping ahead, but the chase sequence was so long that when I wrote down in my notes, like, this is very long. Little did I know, there was still 10 minutes left of that fucking chase. And then I researched it. The director, one of three, there's 3 directors, he purposely shot extra footage because he felt like it needed to be longer. He's like, this movie's not long enough. Well, sometimes it doesn't need to be that long. Look at Chopping Mall. Chopping Mall is 1 hour and 15 minutes, and it works. This one does not need to be 91 minutes. You don't have to hit that magic number. Everyone thinks there's like this golden rule of film, like, it has to be 90 minutes, or else what? It doesn't need to be that long. It's so long. It was just like, she's running in this hall, she hits him, and then she drops the weapon, because now she's Laurie Strode, and then she runs over here. Oh, here's the fucking killer who seems to be teleporting now. The acting from everybody was just piss poor. Like, I was surprised that not even one person stood out except for the coach. Like, everybody was just awful. There's no moment where I was like, that was actually kind of, no, just like, every line, every emotion that they try to emote is just awful.
What are we gonna do, Frank? What the fuck are we gonna do?
What are we gonna do? There's no escape. Let's talk about that. How the fuck can they not escape? They don't even do a well enough job establishing that. They go to one door, I guess it's locked. They go to one window, and there's an electric fence thing going on, and one guy manages to escape, but guess what? Marty knows how to use a door. He goes out, kills that guy, because he knows how to sneak into the back of the car, the one car the guy gets in. Convenience. And they can't see the murder happening too. I thought that was funny. Like, they're looking at him the whole time in the car, and then they don't see him die, and they don't see the killer put his body up on the fence. They don't see the killer get in the driver's seat and drive out. They don't see anything until the killer wants them to see something. Convenient. But they don't do any good enough job establishing why it's so hard for them to get out. This place is 3 stories tall with so many windows and so many exits. There has to be, otherwise it's a fire hazard and this place ain't up to code. There has to be at least 3 exits in that fucker, and they don't try to escape very well at all. In fact, there's one moment at the end of the movie, towards the end, well, I thought it was the end, but then there's a 30-minute chase sequence, but Nancy, she escapes like that. Like, she's had enough. She's like, "Can we I'm leaving." And then she just goes out the door easy peasy. We don't see her struggle or take a crowbar to some metal bars and a fence, break down the door. Fuck this, I'm trying now. There was no effort. She just walks out, and it's well, why hasn't anyone done that? But then she just falls into the one pit that was buried for her specifically, and it's oh wow, convenience. And all that's explained at the end. We'll get to that. Why everything was so absurd and convenient. We'll get to it. It's stupid. But yeah, it's there's no effort to explain why it's so hard to leave. So therefore, that was just bugging me the whole time. Just leave. Just leave. Why aren't you trying? Interesting fact to explain why the acting's so bad. The director went to an acting school, drama school in London, where there was a group of American actors from overseas. They were at this London drama club, and he was like, "Anybody here want to be in my movie?" And they're all like, "Yes, me, hire me." And he's like, "You're hired, every single one of you." This movie's poorly lit. Every time they're outside, there's a few scenes where there's no lights lighting the scene. You're like, who the fuck is that? I don't see. It's like, I get it, that's supposed to be scary, I guess. Like, I can't see anything, so therefore I'm scared, because I'm scared of the dark. And it's like, I want to see the actors and their acting, but oof. And then there's like one scene, like, this movie doesn't know how to build tension. There's one scene where it's like trying to build tension. There's a girl walking down a hall, and the music's playing the whole time. And then it's like so long that the tension starts to just fade away very quick. It's like, okay, I'm over it now. It's like, you could have just had her bump into that poster of Marty where he grabs his arms out, like within 30 seconds, but instead it's like over 90 seconds long of a sequence, and it doesn't need to be. It kind of reminded me of that hallway sequence in Hellraiser where Kirsty is being chased by the hallway monster, and it's like it drags out and out and out, and it's like, I'm not scared anymore. Now let's point out little dumb things, as if I haven't done that already. Let's point out the stupid stuff. First up, the coach wouldn't just send a guy who he is currently punishing for his bad behavior outside the school to go find someone who threw a brick. Now the coach is gullible and he's stupid because the prankster, he throws a brick out the window, and conveniently there's another brick right there. He's like, oh my gosh, someone threw a brick in. You want me to go investigate? And he's like, sure, go out. Go get that asshole. It's like, you don't send a student to go bust another student. You send authority figures, a security guard, a teacher, a principal, you, yourself. Not that guy. So convenience right there. Stupid. Marty, he's all alone in the chemistry lab with fires going on, Bunsen burners, and just all kinds of chemicals, and he's just all by himself. Is this during school hours or after? I think it's after, because he tells him, like, 3:30 after school, your detention. But why is he by himself? That's a fucking hazard right there. Bullshit. Okay, just another quick negative I'll throw in here. All these actors do not look 18, okay? Because they're playing two versions of themselves. They're playing their 18-year-old self, and they're playing their 28-year-old self, but they all look 28 or older. In fact, Carol, the main woman in this movie, is 33 in this movie. And as soon as I saw her, I was like, she's at least 30. And yeah, she is. It's just ridiculous watching 30-year-olds play 18-year-olds. It's bullshit. But yeah, and then Nancy, she's like hitchhiking her way to the reunion. I thought she was the one that was at Carol's apartment earlier. I guess not. The one that was newly engaged. What happened to her character? Who was she? She never pops up again. If she does, that just shows you how memorable these characters were and how much I was able to pay attention. But where was I? Okay, Nancy, she's hitchhiking. Why? She doesn't have a car. I guess Uber wasn't around. But still, like, she's hitchhiking and she gets picked up by Skip, like, what seems like right around the corner from her destination. So the ride was useless. But why does Skip turn off his car when he picks her up? He picks her up and turns off his car, even though he knows his car is a piece of shit. And then he goes to turn on. It won't start. Oh shit, I guess I shouldn't have turned it off. Yeah, you shouldn't have. That was really dumb. There's a tractor in this movie that they're trying to fix because that's what they're going to use to escape. Why is there a tractor inside the school? That seems weird. In that barn? What area are they in this school? Are they outside the school now? Then why aren't they leaving? See what I mean? It's just dumb. And then this tractor all of a sudden has a mower blade underneath it. This shows my knowledge of tractors. I didn't know tractors had mower blades. I haven't done my research. I thought tractors were just tractors. They just hauled shit, like hay rides, something like that. I didn't know they had mower blades underneath them. I'm not a farmer, but I might be right on saying that this is bullshit. That was not a tractor, it was a mower. They have this theory that Marty can only kill them up until noon because April Fool's Day isn't a 24-hour thing, it's a 12-hour thing. They're there on the 31st or 30th of March, and then they're like, it's April Fool's now. And then towards the end of the movie, they're like, we gotta survive till noon. Then he can't kill us. It's like, where are you coming up with this shit? Those aren't the rules of April Fool's Day. If he wants to kill you, he's gonna kill you. He's not on the clock. And he's like, oh shit, it's too late. Clock out, I can't kill you. Here's some more stupid stuff. There's a caretaker, and we've already seen a lot of the school by this point, and he's like, I've been taking care of the school. No, you haven't. This place looks like shit. And then the Asian girl, she gets blood on her face. I think she was Asian. And then instead of just going to a sink to wash off her face, she's like, I gotta strip down and take a bath. Meanwhile, there's a killer out there. And then the bathtub gets filled with acid somehow. Again, this gets explained later on because it's all bullshit. But she's burning alive, and instead of just jumping out of the fucking tub like a normal human being, she keeps repeatedly going forward to turn off the water like 4 times. And then she stands up, and then she grabs the curtain, and she's still screaming. She doesn't sound like she's in that much pain, but then she just falls back in, and then she just melts. It's like, just get the fuck out of the tub. It's ridiculous. What's even more ridiculous is after, like, the bodies start piling up and, like, 3 people are dead. I guess they don't know that many people are dead. They know, like, 1 or 2 people are dead. They know that shit's going on. Shit is going down. And then Joni, or what's her name? Whatever. I don't know. Shitface. Stella, that's her face. She just wants to have an affair. Her husband's fixing a tractor / mower, and she just wants to go fuck Frank. It's like in the middle of all this chaos. And then I like that even Carol, like, they hear them upstairs, and she's like, really? During all this? And I'm like, exactly. I double that. I fucking agree with you. Okay, and then after that long freaking chase, Carol just gets this very quick, uneventful death. She just gets speared in the stomach very quickly, and then it's over for her. And it's like, really? After all that, that's her death. Uneventful, not gory, not creative at all. She's like, pee, you're done. And then he just starts hearing the screams of all his victims, and then he wakes up in an insane asylum. It never happened. He never killed any of those dipshits who deserved it. But I guess he just dreamt his plan. Like, that was his plan. Like, I'm going to do this. This is my plan. And then, what's the point? That was just a cheap, stupid twist ending. Like, we need a twist because that's what movies do. Friday the 13th had a little shock ending. And with Jason coming out of the water. Carrie, hand coming out of the grave. We need to do that too. What can we think of? Oh, it was all a dream. There, that'll make sense. And then he'll kill the nurse, and then he'll kill the doctor, and he'll start tearing his fucked up face off. It's just dumb. It's not the ending that I would prefer. I like to think that the movie ended after he killed Carol, and then it was just over. Like, boom, she's dead. He got revenge. It's over. Because that ending is just dumb. The only thing it does is explain all the absurdities that you saw. All the conveniences, all the dumb character decisions, all the things that he was able to get away with, how he was able to set up lights that kept exploding, how he was able to kind of teleport in a couple of moments, how he was able to sneak whatever fucking chemical he put in that beer can that wasn't even opened yet. So it just explains all that, but it's not a good ending. It's just blue balls. It sucks. It takes away everything that you just watched, and it's like, nope, it never happened, and that's a bullshit ending. Now the Mr. Hat Award for Best Kill will go to Stella and Frank, who get electrocuted while having sex, and that electrical current goes through Stella and through Frank's dick, electrocuting him from his penis. That had to hurt. And the Mr. Twig Award for Worst Kill will go to Nancy, who just falls in a pit of slimy black rocks. I couldn't tell if it was shit or just black asphalt gravel or some shit. It looked weird. She was clearly able to escape, but he, like, pushes her gently on with his foot and, like, pushes her back into the thing, and then he just walks away. It's like, well, she's just gonna get back out again, isn't she? Or what, that little tap just killed her? It was just dumb. But anyways, final thoughts. This movie is an okay, but just very disappointing ending. It's a lackluster ending. It's just a cheap shock twist just to have one. The characters, the acting, the kills aren't that great, but they're still decent for the time, the budget. It's got that typical premise. So it's a lot of generic stuff. It's very generic, paint-by-number slasher, kind of like a Friday the 13th or a Sorority Row, or just any one of those freaking, like, prank gone wrong movies, except it's just not that good. It's decent. It's got that 80s atmosphere and nostalgia for you if you like the 80s and that stuff. It's a cult classic. It's definitely got its fans, but unfortunately for me, it was just a little disappointing, especially because that ending was the final nail in the coffin that made me have to say, when it comes to Slaughter High, this movie unfortunately is a bit wasted time. If only the ending was better, maybe I would have liked it more. But those are my thoughts on Slaughter High. Put your thoughts of this movie in the comments below. What is your favorite prank gone wrong horror movie? Put that title in the comments below. I'd be interested to see how many more there are out there, because I know there's a lot. I listed a few. Tell me what else is out there that I haven't seen yet. But yes, thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button to show your support, and you can become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.